I guess it's time to play the little teaser, because that's why you're really here, to see some footage from the movie, as I promised. So why don't we check that out? So here it is.
I'm nervous.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really.
Ooh, the Hall of Justice. Oh, that's the nightmare stuff.
It goes like this.
Oh, that's definitely new. Ooh.
The minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
That's the bodysuit. Oh, that's nice.
I did my best.
Oh, we've seen that still frame.
I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch.
Oh, Lois and Martha. I was hoping to see some Lois. Oh, that's a cool shot of the trident. Or that may have been the Quinn. What was it, 5 points? Ooh. Oh, see, that looks so cool. That OG Steppenwolf. Ooh. Oh, that storyboard. I think he storyboarded. Oh. Awesome. Oh, what is that? That is definitely different. That was not in the that.
Probably fought hundreds of thousands of other super beings on the other planets he's destroyed, right? And we have to assume he's won.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us. Not us united.
Oh, that's on the hoodie thing that I have. Oh, I gotta break that down, because obviously Zack Snyder loves Hallelujah. He used it in Watchmen. I'm gonna rewatch this and kind of break it down. I don't normally do this kind of thing. I don't want my YouTube channel to become like a trailer reaction channel, but because I love the Zack Snyder DC universe, his version of the DC universe, these films are really important to me because they have a lot of meaning for me, and so I'm so excited that Zack Snyder is getting the chance to put out his version of the film that he shot, he worked on, he storyboarded. This is the the film he wanted to make. At least there might have been some reworking by executives or people behind the scenes that sort of made him change up a few things before they even started shooting. Not totally sure. I guess we'll wait for the release the Snyder Cut book that's coming out to hear more about that behind the scenes part of it. But at least this is the film that he shot, that he wrapped with. He had principal photography on. And so this is us getting to see what he wanted us to see. So earlier this morning, because the trailer leaked and people watched the leaked version, there were reactions to it. And one of them was from Scott Mendelson, who, let's see, I'm trying to remember. I know he's a blue check mark. That's all I really know about him. So he's a critic at Forbes. Forbes sometimes has good people. I mean, Mark Hughes has been a really big supporter of Zack Snyder in the DCEU, but Scott Mendelson, I've noticed if I had still had my personal Twitter account, I would have muted him. That's the kind of thing. If he wants to tweet what he wants to tweet, fine. I don't have to read it. This reaction from Zack Snyder after Scott Mendelson tweeted, he tweeted, so that trailer for the Snyder Cut of Justice League looks like the same movie? Lots of deleted scenes from the marketing campaign, but otherwise it looks like alternate takes of existing scenes. And of course, Zack Snyder roasted him, rightfully so. He says, you said you enjoyed the theatrical cut of Justice League like you enjoy your Saturday morning cartoons. Well, this is made for grown-ups, so you're not in the demographic. I mean, roasted him, rightfully so, honestly. I think we should all be respectful and kind to each other, but at some point, I think it's fair for Zack Snyder to push back against these people and what they say, because those blue check marks are the reason that the Snyder Cut has to exist. Because I've read all of those Batman v Superman top critic Rotten Tomatoes reviews, and they were all asking for the things that ended up in the Whedon cut. Relatively no night scenes, more humor, more like the Marvel movies. All of that stuff came from those reviews, because those executives at Warner Brothers, I guess, thought that's what people wanted, because that's what Rotten Tomatoes was saying. So people like that are the reason that the film got butchered in the first place. And so I'm actually really glad to see, because Zack Snyder, at this point, he's getting to release his film, and he doesn't have to play nice anymore. And honestly, I hate to say it, but those people kind of get it, coming to him, because they have been so vicious over the last couple of years against Zack Snyder and his family and his films and his art. And they're the reasons that this had to have happened in the first place, that this Snyder Cut had to happen. This was the film we were supposed to get. But because of those reactions on Rotten Tomatoes, on Twitter, that film got reworked. So I was glad to see him push back against that this morning, and hopefully hold some of those people accountable, because I review things for Supergirl Radio. The podcast that I do about Supergirl, we review TV episodes, we review movies and comics, but there's a level of professionalism that you can have even when you don't like something. You can say, I don't like it, but this is what it is. And you can be kind about it. You don't have to rip people up and down for things that you don't like and be really nasty about it. And a lot of those blue check marks, a lot of those people on Twitter, a lot of those top critics, they were vicious and nasty. And so, I don't know. It sort of made me happy that he pushed back against that today. And so anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm going to go through this trailer and just see, because there was a lot of new stuff. And some of it did look like it was extended moments from scenes that we saw in the theatrical cut. But what I'm really happy about is that it looks like a Zack Snyder film. It looks really good. And there's some emotional things in there that I think would be a nice payoff for some of what we saw at the end of Batman v Superman. So I'm really excited about that. And just getting to see what Zack Snyder sees. Like, that's the whole point of a film. When you're watching a film, you're seeing the perspective of the person who made the film. You're seeing the perspective and the vision of the person who wanted to step behind a camera, who wanted to go through all of those different departments that they have and coordinate all this stuff to put a cohesive version of a story together. And so when we are watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, we're seeing what Zack Snyder wanted us to see. So that's what I'm so excited about. So, okay, I'm going to try to go through this and sort of break it down and sort of share my thoughts. And first off, I guess I should mention that we are seeing it with the aspect ratio that Zack shot it in, which explains a lot about some of those ugly shots that looked like it was the aspect ratio was mishandled. I'm really thinking about the close up in the post credit sequence with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke, where it just those close-ups look so bad, and so that explains so much. Somebody did not know how to handle that aspect ratio, so that makes so much more sense now. It is a little different because this aspect ratio is kind of going back before, you know, CinemaScope, before some of those changes that were happening in film. This is back, you know, sort of the golden age of film. But I think that if we had seen this on the big screen, it would have been really awesome because we would have gotten more information in the shot, in the frame. So that's really, really cool to me, is that we're going to get so much more out of the picture. So I don't mind it. I think it will be different, but I like the idea of getting more information out of the shot. I'm surprised by the song choice. I really am. That was surprising to me because I was sort of expecting like I don't know what I was expecting, like I don't know, maybe like a more epic kind of sound to it, but they may still be working on the score. Junkie XL may be still working on it. So they had to find something else. And I like the idea of Hallelujah in the fact that it's sort of a celebratory sort of, Hallelujah is a celebratory word, you know, Hallelujah. So the context of the, you know, the song can be changed depending on how you utilize it. But this I thought was it was a little bit of a retread because it had been used in Watchmen, but I think it was an interesting contrast with the footage that we were presented. So he started off immediately with Darkseid here. And it looks really, really good. It definitely looks pretty close to finish. Looks very pristine and clear.
There was a secret chord.
And he looks ferocious and mean, and I would not mess with that guy. So he's definitely in the history lesson as we've been presented. This I'm very curious about because I don't know how they're going to flash back to Superman's death. I imagine if it was me, which is not, but if it was me, I would probably have that be something like a nightmare that Lois has in revisiting that. But I'm very curious as how this gets used.
Please the Lord.
It actually, I know there was lightning sort of around Doomsday. I don't guess that would be a Flash thing, because there was already sort of lightning and things like that around Doomsday in that actual scene. So I don't guess it's like Flash changing things. I don't know. This is really, really cool. And I know I'm saying the word really a lot. But we had seen from, I think, storyboards that the Hall of Justice made an appearance. But here you can see it very clearly that that's what this is. It's hard to see. Oh, it looks like there is a trident there, an Aquaman trident. Oh, it says Justice League. That's what it says. Oh, there's a Joker card. And of course, parademons flying through. This makes me so happy because Nightmare Batman is honestly one of my favorite Batman. He might be my favorite. I love his look. I love the fact that he's in this apocalyptic setting. Apocalyptic is an intended pun, I guess. But getting to see a Batman who is trying, I mean, he's always trying to save the world, but he's trying to save the world in one of the last ways possible. And it seems very bleak, but he's still out there fighting the good fight. And so I love Nightmare Batman. And this is giving me a little bit of hope, and I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much because I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea how this film will end. I don't know if we'll ever get anything as a follow-up to it. I'm just going into this expecting that we'll just get this film and that'll be it. And that would be totally fine. Because I just, honestly, with the Snyder Cut, I just want to see the film that he made and that he wanted to put out there. but this at least gives me some hope that we're going to get some of that nightmare sequence that we got in BBS, because I I selfishly want more Lois Lane and getting to see more of her importance. And so the nightmare sequence is very important because Lois is the key. So I hope we get more of the nightmare sequence, and this gives me hope that we will get to see something. So this is obviously Diana finding the message from Hippolyta. I'm guessing that she actually goes to that location where the fiery message happens. And I wonder if this is also where we've seen that Diana finds that the wall art, the painting, or however you want to describe it, of Darkseid. So I wonder if this is in the same sequence. This looks really good because it just looks like a Zack Snyder film. It's a great angle from low. It's a low angle looking up, and it allows you the chance. I'm actually, like, my eye goes to the arrow, but then back up to Diana's eyes. So that's a really good choice. This is interesting because we have seen this shot before in one of the trailers that they put out before the theatrical release, but there's actually more detail here with the lines going through the cape. So it's definitely, it's definitely a hologram. And I don't even think we saw this in this moment in the film. If I recall correctly, I don't think this is actually in there, but I only saw the theatrical cut a couple of times. And I went back to rewatch a few scenes just for analysis on Justice League Universe podcast. But I'll have to go back and look at that because I don't even remember if this shot is even in that version. So this is interesting. Okay, so this is Aquaman. This is Arthur Curry. I think this could be like a slight homage to the Death of Superman cape flying in the wind, that famous comic book shot. So this joke here, which is in the theatrical cut of Justice League, that's a Zack Snyder thing. That's not a Joss Whedon thing. So for the people who say he doesn't have any humor in his films, this is a joke. For people who don't have a sense of humor, this is what's called comedy. So that's good to know. I'm glad we're actually going to get to see Arthur in these big waves because, as far as I understand it, Jason Momoa did that, like, for real. So, if that was me and I had to go through and do all of these, wet shots where I had to get hit by waves all the time, I would be pretty upset if it didn't make it in the final cut. This makes me laugh so much about the gratuitous shirtless shot, but with Aquaman and Jason Momoa, that makes total sense. We're getting more Victor Stone football. I like that there's a little bit of a speed ramp here, which is a cool use for the football game, and with the snow, and it's right there. I like that. I like that the contrast, because I'm assuming that Victor's mother dies this night after the football game. So it's a kind of a neat and sad and tragic contrast in the fact that, like, he has this victorious game and it's beautiful. There's snow falling, and then he loses his mother. So this we have seen before in a deleted scene, but this is very clearly the black suit. So Superman is resurrected in the black suit. This is nice because this shows a little bit of the heart that Zack Snyder puts in his films, that Wonder Woman's interacting with this little girl. That's definitely not in the theatrical cut. This scene we saw in some of those leaked special effects shots that came out on the internet right after the film had been released in theaters. And it's so cool to actually see this fully realized, because it's sort of previs that we saw in the leaked special effects, but here we're getting to see the lightning. We get to see Iris West actually show up. She was not in the theatrical version. And why doesn't Barry have shoes on? What happened to his shoes? Did he run so fast that he burned them off? Did he have shoes before? I'm very curious. How does he get to be barefoot? Maybe that's why he realizes he needs special footwear. That's cool. It's cool to get to see Barry and Iris. We had seen this in a still frame that Zack Snyder posted to Vero. So it's cool to get to see some of these things that he posted earlier, and they are there. They're a moving picture. This has always boggled my mind, because they had this shot. We know they had this shot of Batman and the Gargoyle because it appeared in one of the trailers, and they didn't use it. And they used a racked out tarp shot. It's like, why would you use that shot and not this one? Mind blowing. This makes me so happy. I love Amy Adams' Lois Lane so much. And Zack Snyder has teased this scene quite a bit. He put out storyboards of it. He posted a black and white picture of Amy Adams and Diane Lane sipping tea or coffee together. So we knew that there was a scene like this in the film. And this is also, I imagine, what they reworked in the reshoots, the stupid Daily Planet break room scene with the thirsty line. That, I think, was probably reworked to replace this. And I imagine that the reason that they did it was because in the storyboards, we know, I'm pretty sure if I read the storyboards correctly, that Martha Kent, when she leaves Lois at the end of the scene, she turns into Swanwick, who becomes Martian Manhunter. So I imagine that the reason that they reshot a scene sort of similar to this is because they had to take the Martian Manhunter aspect of it out. And so they just reshot it and made it completely worse. It's one of the worst scenes in the whole theatrical version because of that dumb news anchor with the alien probe joke. Like, none of that. Some of the dialogue didn't make sense. There's a mixed metaphor in there, and it's so bad. It's so bad. And it's visually boring. I mean, I could have shot something better on my iPhone. I know that sounds egotistical, but I could probably do it if somebody put me to the challenge. I could find a way to make that more visually interesting just with my iPhone. But it's so bad. So I'm really excited to see more of Lois, because Lois, people forget that Lois got gypped just as much as Superman did, because a lot of her scenes probably involved interacting with Clark and with Superman. And so because they reshot most of the Superman stuff, they reworked Lois too. So Amy Adams really got gypped in this theatrical cut of the movie. And I don't know, I've never said it publicly, but I always thought that Amy Adams in the theatrical version looks really checked out. She looks so checked out, like she does not want to be there. I've seen a lot of Amy Adams films, and she always looks so committed to whatever she's playing and whatever part she's playing. Like, she's in it. She's being that character. She's playing the part. In the Justice League theatrical version, she looks like she does not want to be there. And so I'm interested to see what is different about this scene. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of the interplay between Lois and Martha, especially because This is, of course, after Clark dies, and to see that mourning being treated seriously. It was not treated seriously in the theatrical cut. It was played for jokes and for laughs, and I think that's a real disrespect and a real mishandled way of addressing the monumental thing that has happened, that Superman and Clark Kent have died, that Lois lost the man who was going to be her husband. That's a big deal. And Martha, of course, lost her son, who was an alien that she had to protect all those years. That's a big deal for these two women, and they had some really beautiful moments together during Clark's funeral. And so I always thought it was just so. The way Whedon handled it was so ugly, and so I'm anticipating that Zack Snyder treated these women a little better in his cut of the film. And what I think is cool, if this is the scene where Martha leaves, and it looks like Martha comes to see Lois in her Metropolis apartment that she probably shared with Clark. If that is going to end up being Martian Manhunter Swanwick, what I think is really cool about that is that over the course of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, Lois and Swanwick have had interactions that were really meaningful. They worked investigations together. There was an emotional core to the fact that they had developed this relationship, this working relationship together. And so I think it would be special that Swanwick would know that Clark was Superman, and that he would know that he needed to go check on Lois. I think that makes their dynamic, Lois and Swanwick's dynamic, fully fleshed out over the course of 3 films, that he would make it a point to put on the disguise, put on the form of Martha Kent as a loving mother-in-law figure, and go in there and check on Lois. Ugh, that's so good. It's so good. So I think that's one of the scenes I'm looking forward to most.
I tried to touch. I've told the truth.
Okay, so this is, okay, I'm guessing this is Arthur Curry. This is maybe where he finds the armor, because he kind of just shows up with the armor on in the theatrical version. We've seen that shot in still. Okay, I am not as familiar with the New Gods and the Apocalypse stuff. I've heard that Desaad is in the film, so I'm wondering if this is him, because I don't think that this is not Steppenwolf, and this is not Darkseid, I don't think. So I hope this means we'll get to see more Apocalypse, because if we do, that's a huge change to this story in this film. If we, I don't know, I've always thought because of one of those early trailers that maybe they went to Apocalypse. I don't know. That's just my speculation. I have no idea. But this makes me happy that we might get to see more of Apocalypse and its mythology. And he looks like a mean bugger too. He looks like, I'm glad that the villains look mean and nasty, because the Steppenwolf in the theatrical version did not seem threatening. And this looks like it's a part of the Star Lab sequence, where maybe Victor Stone's father dies. This, I think we might have seen a little bit of when Clark is resurrected in the theatrical cut. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how different this is. That may have been a shot that was repurposed and out of context in the theatrical cut. I don't know. Oh, okay. So we knew that there was a shot kind of like this in one of the early trailers, that Lois turns around. So she sees him up in the sky. I have to remind myself that the Superman Lois stuff in the theatrical version was completely reshot. There were a couple of shots that they used just for like establishing purposes, but the interaction between the two of them was reshot, was rewritten, reshot, redone. So we have actually no idea how Superman and Lois reconnected after he was resurrected. We have not seen that yet. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I know that Zack Snyder is not going to take that lightly. I always felt like Joss Whedon and the things that they did to reshoot that, it was too easy. And it didn't feel as romantic as I had wanted it to be. I mean, that's a big deal. The man that she lost in a really grotesque, tragic fashion is alive again. That should be a huge deal. That should be a big deal. So, I mean, Amy Adams in the shot looks more plugged in to the acting part of her job than she did in the entire theatrical cut. I get more emotion in this shot than I think I did in any of that. Oh man, so good. And just like in the comics, she has that green coat on when he is resurrected, and when she reconnects to Superman in the comics in the Death of Superman story. Oh, the Lois stuff, man. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, this is, I think, more of that Star Labs sequence, maybe. Oh, what is happening to Silas? Did he put himself in there? He might have experimented on himself. Yeah, we've seen this still because Zack Snyder posted this to Vero. So we have seen that before, but oh man, it looks like maybe he put himself in there. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not like the biggest Steppenwolf fan in the world, but this is why the Snyder Cut is amazing, because he is actually getting to go back. He's getting the chance to go back and put what he wanted to do with this film in here and release it like he wanted to. Because this was Steppenwolf from Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. He is connecting that back to the film before it, as it should have been. This Steppenwolf looks like a scary Mother Fletcher, is what I think. And just spiky's all get out. Oh man, so good. And this is getting put back in. The stuff that they changed in the theatrical version is so... I know they probably had a reason for what they did, but it's to me, it's like nonsensical. I guess they had to move characters around in scenes because they rewrote things, and so they had to remove characters. But now we're probably going to get the Showy moment, which I think is really cool because we get to see Diana, we get to see Wonder Woman sort of in charge and leading the Justice League and whatever this is. I guess the last part of the big fight, or maybe the beginning of the big fight. Okay, this is obviously some Flash stuff, because this feels like Speed Force stuff. This may be part of the tunnel sequence with the Flash. It's hard to go frame by frame on YouTube. But I could use more Flash stuff. Batmobile is covered in parademons. Okay, what is happening here? Is that step? Oh! Oh, this is good. Okay. Seriously, I'm trying not to like geek out here, but in the theatrical version, I was really disappointed with the Superman stuff there at the end, because first of all, he has a dumb line about I'm a big fan of truth, but I'm also a big fan of justice. It's dumb. It's nonsensical. Take it out. But there's also a shot that I always thought looked really dumb. And I don't know if it's something that was covered up because of a bad handling of the aspect ratio. I don't know if it's part of what Zack Snyder had shot or not, or if it was part of the reshoots. But there's a shot where Superman is like pummeling something in the ground, obviously Steppenwolf, but it's just badly shot and it doesn't look good. And I always thought it was a weird shot. And this with Steppenwolf facing off against Superman is what I'm here for. This is how you shoot a fight sequence between your big bad and your superhero. That's what I'm talking about. The composition of that. Steppenwolf has the high ground. I bet this is the kind of stuff that Jay Oliva has always talked about with that fight, because I think he might have storyboarded this fight. I don't know. Oh man, we haven't even seen Superman fight Steppenwolf yet, because all of that was reshot. Oh man, this gets me really excited. And of course, he's wearing the black suit with the silver us. We haven't even seen that yet. Oh, and he super punches the crap out of him too. Oh man. Okay, this is interesting. Batman is defending himself from parademons using his gauntlet? How? Okay, I'm very curious about this because I don't know what that's about. Okay, we saw some early bits of this in one of the early trailers, but then it never appeared in the film, in the theatrical release of the movie. And we've seen storyboards of this, I think, from Zack Snyder on his Vero post. And this is not at all in the theatrical version. Whatever Flash is doing here is completely new. Like, all of this is new. And he's obviously doing something very, very important. And I think it involves the Speed Force. Oh my goodness. Now, we did get this in a trailer. The coloring is different, though. I think they removed the red sky thing that obviously Jeff Johns probably mandated that they put in there. This makes my heart happy. It makes my heart happy because this is a genuine emotional payoff to what has happened at the end of Batman v Superman. That these two women lost this man who was so important to the both of them. And here they are getting to reunite with them. This is good. This is good. Oh, man. And he doesn't have the weird lip thing. Oh, man. And I bet he doesn't have that weird stereotypical dialogue that Joss Whedon wrote for him. Oh, man. So good. And he's got his flannel shirt on. Oh, so good. See? That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. And this we saw in one of those early leaks that weekend. The Justice League came out and we all realized, oh, a bunch of Cyborg stuff got cut. So this shows how powerful he is, that he's controlling all these missiles and things. Okay. What is this Aquaman thing? Might be part of the fight with the parademons with the mother box. Oh, is that the King of Atlantis? Oh, that's Cyborg stopping this car here. This is definitely new. I don't know exactly what the Flash is doing here. I saw on Twitter somebody liken it to that he was building a bridge with the Speed Force down here, because it does look like he's either running on water or building a bridge on the water. I don't know exactly, but that's very cool and that's very different. This is I can't remember if this angle is new. But what a great shot. What a great shot. And obviously Superman in the black suit here. This is completely different. Completely different. because in the theatrical cut, this is them after the fight with Steppenwolf. Everything has been they saved the world. There's all those like flowers that are blooming and all that stuff with the alien stuff that was never explained at all. I don't know what this is. Is this the is this one of Batman's vehicles? Is this the thing that came in? Is Alfred controlling it? I don't know, but this is completely different. I don't know what Scott Mendelson was talking about. This is a completely different film. This is completely different. That same shot is there with them overlooking something. But this changes the context. This is a different story. This is a different scene. What are you talking about, Scott Mendelson? Okay, so it's opening. Yeah, I guess this is the it's not the Nightcrawler. I know it had a different name. I forget what that vehicle is called. And it's called the Snyder Cut.
This guy's probably fought hundreds of thousands of other super beings on the other planets.
Barry seems more sure of himself just within that one line. He doesn't seem timid. He doesn't seem scared. He seems like a guy who is contributing to what they're doing. And that is a Barry Allen I can get on board with, because I thought the portrayal of him in the theatrical cut was a little goofy, and he seems maybe a little more sure of himself.
Destroyed, right? And we have to assume he's won.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us. Not us united.
That's not in the theatrical cut, and that's awesome. That's an awesome line. It's an awesome line, and that's I don't have it on right now, but there's the Zack Snyder's Justice League hoodie that I bought has that quote on the back, and I always wondered if that was from the theatrical version. Not us united, like the unity with the mother boxes. I wonder if the unity is going to still play a part. Oh man, yeah, no, that's a different film. It's a completely different film. So that's amazing. I am very excited. I was a little nervous after I saw that tweet from Scott Mendelson. I was like, well, is it going to be stuff that we've kind of already seen? But I mean, especially that Superman Steppenwolf shot, that's a game changer. That is a game changer for me. Oh man. That was definitely worth it. So I'm excited about the Snyder Cut. I'm going to probably have some more content on my YouTube channel about the Snyder Cut when it comes out. I'll probably do a few, a few little pieces of videos related to that. I'm also I'm doing research. If you're curious about why I haven't released a video about the critical reception of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, it's because I'm doing research. I'm learning about art criticism and what people think, the philosophies behind art, because I think that really informs how to critique something. And it's taught me a lot about being a reviewer and how to find meaning in things, and to really look at the art as art. And so I think that will inform a lot of my responses to those terrible Batman v Superman reviews that made me lose so many IQ points. I'm still trying to get them back. I'm still trying to build them back up. But I think that once I feel like I've done enough research, that I'll be in a point where I can actually put out a video about that. I especially highly recommend C.S. Lewis's book on criticism and art criticism, because it explains so much about the differing views of fans who love BVS versus the critics who hated it. So I'm excited to share that with people, because I think that it's very enlightening. C.S. Lewis, my man, knew what he's talking about. But I'm also reading What is Art by Leo Tolstoy. So there's some other things that I'm sort of digging into to find out some of the historically based philosophies on art. So if you've been waiting on that, I'm very sorry, but I'm doing some research to try to see if I can make it as good as possible, because I think Batman v Superman deserves that. But the Zack Snyder Snyder Cut, I guess is what they're calling it now, and not so much the Zack Snyder's Justice League. I guess it's going to be called the Snyder Cut, which is fine by me. I mean, it was released the Snyder Cut after all. So we are getting the Snyder Cut. It was something that I always thought would happen, but I thought it would be like years and years and years, maybe decades, because I thought they wouldn't release it while the current DCEU was still in play with Wonder Woman and Aquaman and all those characters who were still in the DCEU. I didn't think we'd get it this quickly, but thank you, HBO Max, for opening up that window and seeing the value in this kind of content. And I hope that you see the return that you're looking for with it. I subscribed day one when they announced that it was coming. So you've got me as a subscriber for a long time for this. So anyway, I just wanted to make a little reaction and have a little bit of analysis about what we saw, because this is something I'm very excited about. And it's been so long since we've had a Zack Snyder film, and he's one of my favorite filmmakers. And I think he does such a good job of really visually painting a picture with each of his frames. And it makes me want to be a better camera operator. And it makes me want to be a better reviewer of art. And so I'm so excited to be able to dive back into another one of his films, because his films are so layered and there's so much meaty substance to it. And I look forward to being able to do that with another Zack Snyder film, because I miss those conversations with other fans, because those are always what's so fun about dissecting those films, is that you find more and more that you love about it. So we'll get to do that with another Zack Snyder DC film. So I hope everybody who is a fan of his films, who is a fan of Zack Snyder's DCEU, for this story that he's telling, I'm excited for everyone. And I'm so looking forward to getting to see the film in 4 parts. It sounds like 4 1-hour parts. And then maybe we'll get to see it in its completed form. But if we're getting 4 hours, that's a completely different movie, guys. That's a completely different movie. That's 2 additional hours. That's another film. So that's so exciting. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. Anyway, I just wanted to put out my thoughts. And if you have any thoughts you want to share, and we can start a conversation now about some of these images that we got today, feel free to drop them in the comments.